Thanks for flipping to the B-side of March 2017. In this video, I'm going to talk about the records that I heard this month that I liked or maybe didn't like. I'm going to show off the vinyl that came in, as well as some ones I didn't talk about in the A-side that I either surprise picked up or surprise came in early. I'm also going to share music news that interests me, and we're going to start off this video with questions that you guys asked in the last video, right after this. So you guys asked some really cool questions on the last video, and I am going to answer almost all of them. I think pretty much all of them that were questions that I didn't answer in the comments, because I had to restrain myself from actually answering all of them so I can do this. Zach Liner asked, are you going to do any vinyl hunt videos? Well, Zach, I think so. I'd like to say yes. I love doing vinyl hunt videos. It's great that record stores in LA are cool with me filming, especially when it's kind of guerrilla filming and they have other customers in the store who may not be super jazzed on it, but I definitely plan to do more this year. I know a lot of you guys have asked me if I'm going to do more, and I plan to do it, so look forward to that in the coming months. Milo Hempel asked, do you collect anything other than records? Well, yes, I do, Milo. I have a lot of random stuff in my room, but I'd say the things I collect outside of records primarily are cassette tapes, which mostly are vaporwave and hip-hop tapes, as well as Funko Pops, and I really limit myself to Dragon Ball Z and Star Wars ones. I have a couple other here and there, like some Gremlins ones and some Rick and Morty, but those are my two primary things that I jump into. Rob Atchison asked, how do you keep up with all these limited vinyl releases, man? Well, dude, I go on all sorts of vinyl websites all the time. The ones I primarily check out are Sly Vinyl, Modern Vinyl, Vinyl Collectors on Reddit, and Vinyl Collective, the forums. Between them, you can find any pre-order, any rare record coming out, and it will drain your wallet faster than you can read it. So if you want to hop down the rabbit hole, those 4 sites are ones I definitely recommend checking out first. Cool John asked, can you talk more about Amoeba Music? Like to know a lot about them and your top 10 jazz records. That's a really good idea, and we actually have a video planned with Amoeba very soon, so look forward to that one. It's something I'm really excited to do, and I think you guys are going to be just as stoked for it. As for jazz, we are planning on doing a lot more top lists this year, and I haven't really talked about jazz on this channel. My jazz collection's back there. It's not huge. It's maybe 50 records tops, maybe 40. So I could definitely pull my favorite 10 and talk about it in the video. So, good idea. Terry Michelizio asked, how much prep goes into the videos? What do the notes look like off camera? You know, it's funny. I always tell myself that I should write out more detailed bullet points or even a script for my videos. And I know I talk a lot about records, but most of the time, it's off the top of my head. I have so much stuff just swirling around here that I often trip up when I speak, and Chris can attest to it. We do a lot of retakes when I flub my words or I say the wrong thing just on reflex, but most of the time I hit the points that I want to talk about in the video or the items I want to talk about, and I just kind of go for it. I think it works pretty well so far. NotLads2 asked, what do you think of Young the Giant? I don't like Young the Giant. Stone Mackle asked, where did you get the Lum shirt? Thunder Zone. They tend to stock a lot of Lil Ugly Mane merch along with the Hive, the HYV. Lil Ugly Mane for life, so grab some merch while you can before it sells out. Harmona Zach asked, what Reddit forums are a must for vinyl collector? First off, Our Vinyl is the best place to go on Reddit for just general vinyl information, but I also really enjoy Our Vinyl Deals and Our Vinyl Collectors. Our Vinyl Deals tends to have people posting all kinds of cheap and rare flash sales that happen around the web for records, so that's a great place for that. And Our Vinyl Collectors has people actually buying and selling their own collections. So I've purchased some very rare and hard to find records on there for some pretty good prices, so I would scour that. Valentino Ristevsky asked, I'm just wondering, what do you think of collecting records with band signatures? Does the market like them? Does it add more to the value? It's a pretty good question. I personally think that signed records do add to the value, but only if it's not signed to a person. I like to get my records signed to myself, because if I get it signed, I usually really like the band, and I'm going to keep that forever. Sometimes a band will just sign it, their name, and I think that does add value. Of course, some people will forge record signatures, and you can't really be sure unless you're the one getting it signed. But I like to have records signed. I try to get them signed at shows whenever possible. I think generally having a signed record will add to the value in the aftermarket, so something worth noting. Andrew King asked, what are your thoughts on the singles in the upcoming Father John Misty album? I am really excited for that album. I haven't listened to a single track from it because I just want to go in completely blind. I think it's going to be terrific because his first 2 are awesome. I picked up the deluxe coming from Bull Moose, and I also got the Vinyl Me Please exclusive pressing, so I'm going to keep probably both of them if the album's great, but if not, I'll probably sell one to just have one copy of it. We'll see. I have high hopes. Fam Savage No Chill asked, good speakers to go with my record player? Gear is my weak spot when it comes to records. I don't have the optimal setup. I love my turntable and my receiver. My speakers are nothing to really write home about. I have a pair of Dayton Audio B652 speakers that they're good. They're not really high-level speakers, but they're mid-tier for a decent price. They're about $40-50 depending on when you find them. I'm moving to a new place sometime this year, and I plan to get some nice floor speakers when I go there. So once I do that, I will absolutely make a video showing off my setup, because who else am I going to show it off to? Milo Hempel asked, when did you get your first setup/first record, and how old were you when you first started taking record collecting seriously? I wasn't aware I took it seriously. I thought this was a casual hobby. The first record I ever purchased was the National Alligator on black vinyl. I currently have it on green vinyl. I don't have the black one anymore. I was actually doing a short film inspired by Alligator. Maybe I'll post it on this channel one day. I'm actually pretty proud of it. And we had it on set at my friend's apartment, and I left it there accidentally, and I never saw it again. This was a while before I actually picked up a record player, so hopefully he's taking care of it and he didn't just throw it out. But I've since upgraded to the green vinyl, and Alligator is probably my favorite album ever, so if you don't know the National Alligator, now's your time to listen to it. I got my first vinyl set up in 2013. It hasn't even been that long that I've been this obsessed with records, but yeah, I took it pretty seriously right off the bat. I really dive into things as soon as I get into them, and I just go for it, and clearly I did. Alex D4532 asked, what's your number one favorite ambient album with male vocals? I was trying to think of this for a while, and I feel like I don't know a lot of ambient albums with male vocals. I think that borders more on post-rock if it has vocals, so if that's your question, I can answer that, but I don't know if I can answer it for ambient. So if you have one that you like, I'd love to hear it. Recrap132 asked, if you could pick up any record from the past first press, what would it be? I can't just pick one. This is a ridiculous question. I'm going to pick 3. Sunkill Moon, Ghosts of the Great Highway, which tends to go for $200-300. Ulrich Schnaus, A Strangely Isolated Place. This is one of my favorite down-tempo albums, and it's one of Tycho's chief inspirations. Never been able to find it. There's never been a real repress. It's probably really high up on my list, maybe number 1. And finally, Action Bronson, Dr. Lecter. It got a pressing through Chopped Herring and never had a repress, so hopefully I will find one of those colored or non-colored ones they did. I just want to own it. Thank you guys for all of the fan questions. I really enjoyed answering every single one of them. In the A-side next month, hopefully you guys will ask some more questions so I can answer them in the B-side. So I got to listen to pretty much all of the albums that I mentioned in the A-side, which is great. I didn't love all of them. There were a couple that wowed me and I was into, but the rest were kind of middling. Grandaddy's Last Place. This was a good album because Grandaddy has a good sound, but in terms of their earlier stuff compared to their new stuff, I don't think they have the same kind of oomph, the same kind of catchiness that they used to have. I enjoyed my listen of it, but I don't think I would revisit it. Depeche Mode, Spirit. This was a good album. Again, nothing great. I still would listen to early Depeche Mode versus this. It was very political, very appropriate for this current social climate. I don't think that the politics were enough to kind of push it forward to be this really bombastic, catchy, powerful album that they have the potential of making. But it's definitely worth a listen. Temple's Volcano didn't do it for me. It sounded like they were trying to do a Tame Impala kind of thing, and Tame Impala I'm kind of lukewarm on to begin with, so this was kind of a letdown. I wish they went back to that Beatles 60s era sound that they had a little bit of on their last album. And the Shins, Heartworms, it was a little more electronic and experimental than some of their previous releases. It almost felt like they were doing it a Montreal type thing, but it was like a watered down of Montreal. I wasn't enamored with this either. If I want to hear the Shins, I'm going to go back to their first 2, maybe first 3 albums. So I didn't listen to all 50 songs, but Magnetic Field's 50-song memoir was great. The songs are a mixture of heartbreaking, funny, and just beautiful. The guy is a songwriting genius, and I'm going to listen to all 50 songs before I decide if I want to pick up the vinyl box set of it, but it's definitely a good listen. If you like the Magnetic Fields, this is a great addition to their catalog. Of course, we talked about Drake's More Life in the video not too long ago. Very middling. I gave it a 6.5. I might even go down to a 6 now. I'm reflecting and I'm really just not happy with it. If you want to check out the review, click right here. So it finally came in and I finally got to listen to it. I'm talking about Acceptance Colliding by Design. This came to me pretty beat up. I might actually email them and ask for a replacement sleeve because there's all kinds of scuffs. There's like a seam split on top and it just, I don't know why. Maybe because they packaged it right underneath the shirt, which actually wearing right now. This album, I didn't know what to expect because their first album came out 10 years ago and it was so good and pop punk and edgy and had this cut to it and a bite. This wasn't quite that. It wasn't Phantoms 2.0, but I really enjoyed it. It had this 80s vibe to it. It almost felt like recent Killers albums, like Battleborn era, a little Springsteen at times. I thought it was a really good listen front to back, and I was very pleasantly surprised from a band that disappeared for so long, coming back so strong. I'm definitely going to spin this more. And the record itself looks awesome. This was the variant you could only get in the bundle. It is half clear with red splatter and half opaque green, like a lime green. I love this. This is probably one of the more unique records I own visually in my collection, so very pleased I got this awesome variant. I finally got my King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard album in, Flying Microtonal Banana. This is the first of the 5 albums they're supposedly releasing this year. I haven't heard details about number 2, and it's already almost April, so hopefully we'll hear about that in April. This was one of the variants from their Australian store, Flightless, and it is the Reptilian Poison Wax variant. Looks really cool. Really cool colors going on. This pressing sounds really good. I don't know too much about how microtonal sounds are supposed to sound. I know that's the tuning they use. It's like an obscure tuning style. It's a really good droney kind of lo-fi album, but it's poppy enough that even though the lyrics are somewhat repetitive throughout the songs, it definitely keeps your attention the whole time. This was a great start to the year for them. I finally got in the Dirty Projectors self-titled album. This is the deluxe variant, which has a etching on side D, as well as it's on black smoke vinyl. So this is really cool. It has this like smoky, if you hold it up to a light, it's really, really beautiful. It's like you're in a lounge. I appreciated that this release had the inner sleeves that are polylined. I always really do like that when they take advantage of the fact that little paper sleeves tend to leave residue on your records and don't protect them, especially when you take them in and out. These do. I don't know if you can see the etching. Overall, I love this album. Even though I miss Amber Kaufman, it was a really intimate, personal, experimental, poppy album, and I think the first half was better than the second half, but overall, I'll definitely return to this. Music news! Let's start off with a little bit of a somber one. As we all know, Chuck Berry passed away. He had an amazing legacy of music, and he inspired pretty much any rock musician that you know. People say he invented rock and roll, and honestly, I believe it. Rest in peace, Chuck Berry. You will never be forgotten, and I need to add some of your records to my collection very soon. The Record Store Day list is out. Record Store Day is April 22nd, and I actually made a video talking all about everything you need to know about Record Store Day 2017. Click here if you want to see that. FYF Festival in LA released their lineup, and this is one of the heaviest hitting lineups they have ever done. I was losing my mind when I read this poster. They extended it from 2 to 3 days, and the headliners, all 3, or kind of 4, are worth seeing. Day 1 has Missy Elliott and Bjork. I don't know if that means they're playing together. I don't think so, but they were listed on the same top area where they have the headliners, so I hope they don't put them side by side where you have to pick, because I would love to see both. Bjork has been on my list to see for ages, and her LA show this year sold out within seconds, so I missed that. This is going to be my chance to see her, and I am very excited. Day 2 is Frank Ocean. I've never seen Frank Ocean either. He was supposed to play FYF a few years ago, and he had to cancel. Kanye filled his place, which honestly is an upgrade to me. But I love Frank Ocean, mostly Channel Orange, but I'm willing to hear anything he has to play because I'm sure live he's going to be fantastic. And then the last day is rounded out by 9 Inch Nails. They're a band that I would probably never pay to see live because I'm a casual fan, but I also think that this performance might convert me into a big fan. I've heard they have one of the best live shows around, so this is going to be crazy, especially if they start debuting new material. In addition to that, we have A Tribe Called Quest, who I've never got to see either. Of course, it won't be the same without Fife, but I'm sure they will still kick it. You know what I mean? We got Erykah Badu, Solange, Run the Jewels, Flying Lotus, Anderson .Paak, Slow Dive, and one of the weirdest and coolest gets of the festival is Cap'n Jazz. This is a band with Mike and Tim Kinsella. Tim Kinsella went on to do Joan of Arc, and Mike Kinsella did the famous American Football. The original band of these two brothers, Cap'n Jazz, hasn't played a show in a very long time, so this is a really cool, unique, awesome act that I'm going to have to see just for historical purposes. And finally for news, Demon Daze, the Gorillaz album that has been out of print for many years, fetching $200-300 in the aftermarket, is finally getting a repress. The people that got the lucky repress, vinyl me please. Their April record of the month is a blood red copy of Demon Daze, 2 discs, spun at 45 RPM for max fidelity. The original is only 33, so they're going to do some remastering to it. It's going to sound awesome. And this is the first month of Vinyl Me Please where they sold out before the record month was over, Within 1 day of announcing this album, they sold the entire pre-order and you can't get that record of the month anymore. I'm lucky I jumped in time. As of now, I heard there's no other plan to repress for Demon Days, but because it happened now, it'll likely happen again in the future. With who and in what way, I can't tell you, but for those of us that were lucky enough to get it from Vinyl Me Please, we're in a secret club now. So before I get into them, these are the ones that didn't make it even though I thought they would. The MAE EPs by May didn't come in. I'm assuming that'll probably come in a week or two, so look forward to that in the B-side for April. 3-6 Mafia, Most Known Unknown didn't come in either. Hopefully that'll come in soon. And again, the MF Doom figure with the Avalanche 7-inch got delayed. I actually got an email about it this time, so hopefully April I'll be able to get this amazing figure and show it off to you guys. And now for all the records that came in. Spoon's latest album, Hot Thoughts, finally came in. I haven't listened yet because it just came in a day before I filmed this, but I'm hearing really good things about it. The cool thing about this record is that 2 copies from their web store were not on this purplish magenta vinyl. They were going to be on green vinyl, and it actually would give you access to any Spoon show in the world, as well as you'd have an incredible collectible with only 2 copies of it in the world. I showed myself on my Instagram opening it for the first time, and unfortunately, it is just the purplish kind of color. And that's fine. It's still a cool color. I don't have the ultimate Spoon collectible, but this is a really cool variant, and I'm excited to hear the album. Arms and Sleepers' hip-hop, trip-hoppy newest album, Life is Everywhere, came in, and I got 2 versions of it. This is one that just came in, and I haven't had a chance to listen to it yet. I'm very excited to hear it because I'm a huge fan of their entire discography, and this is a different departure for sound for them. Comes in this really nice, thick jacket with a nice spine. It is a gatefold, which I love, as you guys know. The discs themselves, ooh, there's no poly inner sleeve. That's okay. I'll live. They are on this clear with smoke. Not quite as smoky as the Dirty Projectors one, but still a really nice color. But what I'm most excited for is that my dear friend, Richard Houghton, actually did a lathe cut. So this is 2 discs, but because of the way that you do lathe cuts, he was able to fit it onto 1. I can't wait to see what it looks like, so let's take a look. So Richard does this thing with a lot of his releases, where he has 2 slabs of art and the record in the middle. He likes to have the art as standalone. If you want to learn more about Richard and how he does his own lathe cuts from his home, click here because I did a documentary about him and it's fascinating. You're going to love it. As you can see on the back, he stamped it number 2. So this is number 2 of a very small run. There were only 17 of these made. So many layers of packaging. Wow, this is so crystal clear. It's so crisp. Oh, the coolest part about this is that the inside ring, he etched Arms and Sleepers, Life is Everywhere. So that is a collectible if I've ever seen one. Pinback, some Offcell voices. These are 2 early EPs of Pinback, some voices, and Offcell, put into 1 disc. And the disc is really cool looking. Temporary Resonance did a great job with this. This is supposed to be this kind of blue with orange like swirl in it, or orange kind of splatter. And the orange isn't super obvious, but then when you hold it up to the light, you can see a little more of that aquamarine orange blend. This is such a pretty disc. This is one of my favorite looking discs. I actually put a picture of this on my Instagram if you guys saw. Teen Daze, Themes for Dying Earth. I raved about this album when I talked about it last time, and I'm so happy I picked up the record. Number 252 of 300. I don't know if it's sold out yet, but if he's going in order, I would assume it is by now. It's just on black vinyl. It's in a pretty generic sleeve, but I just wanted to have this in my collection because this album is beautiful front to back. So if you like pretty ambient, still poppy and slightly down-tempo albums, definitely check out this. Got my big monthly package from Vinyl Moon. I don't know why it's so big. It looks like there's 2 of them. I don't know if this was a mistake or if it's just some crazy release. Let's open it. Oh, whoa. What? These... What? Brendan, that's so nice of you. He sent me Waves, King of the Beach. I don't have this album, surprisingly, among all my albums, and I really dig Waves. Waves is really good beach pop, kind of surf pop, a little punky and edgy at times. I don't have this record yet, and I love this album cover with this ridiculous cat. But this is so cool. I don't know why you sent me this in addition to my record. Hopefully this was an accident, but I'm going to keep it now. This is a great album. This is volume 18, Intrepid Curves. Really loving this cover right now. It's like a comic book kind of aesthetic. It's definitely some kind of gatefold. Let's open it and see what the gimmick and the trick is. I don't know any of these bands yet again. Oh, wait! The Dig! I love this band. I had their album Midnight Flowers once upon a time, and I think I gave it to a friend because I thought they'd like it more. But now it's like out of print and really hard to find, so it was a mistake. But I love The Dig, so this is a great get. What is going on with this? So it's a double gatefold. This is such a pretty gatefold. This is crazy. This art is unbelievable. I love this. Isn't this cool, Chris?
Yeah.
So, is this like a comic of some kind? It's just like an art book in this like kind of comic-y style. Man, they really don't cut corners here. Vinyl Moon is such a high quality. Like, between this and Feed Bands, my box is just so full of good stuff every month. It's awesome. Let's check out the color. It's like this opaque, splattery kind of yellowish mix.
You know what it looks like? An old comic book page that has been like sitting on the shelf forever. You know how
so it gets a little yellowy,
brown and yellow.
I wonder if that's what he intended. Is it, Brandon? And as always, it comes with a little postcard book explaining who some of the bands are. Nice little touch. But this package has a second part in the back, so I'm not sure what this is. Let's find out. Oh, whoa. There's a bunch of goodies in here. What is going on? So there's more records on the other side. One of which is one of my favorite albums, Daft Punk Discovery. This is one of the best dance electronic albums of all time, in my opinion. Some of their best songs are on it, like Aerodynamic, Digital Love, Something About Us, Superheroes, Crescendos. This is such a good album. Oh, wow, there's more. Oh my god, he sent me so many albums. This is Licky Lee Youth Novels. I love Licky Lee. I don't have any of her stuff on vinyl. How did he know? This is so cool. This is her album from, I guess, 2008. I can't wait to hear this. And finally, Tegan and Sara, The Con. I don't know this album. This is their 2007 album. I'm not super familiar with them, but Brandon, I trust your taste, so I am going to give this a listen for sure. Vinyl Moon, you did me right this month, but you do me right every month. Great service. Recommend signing up. Up next is a record that's been on my want list for a very long time. A super rare record, one that I'm very lucky to finally own. Captain Murphy's Duality. Captain Murphy is Flying Lotus's rap alter ego, and this is his only full LP. This record has been out of print for a while, and it goes for $150 plus, sometimes $250 depending on condition. This said it was near mint when I bought it, and it's an okay condition. It's a little scuffed up on the cover more than I like, and the edges are kind of coming a bit unglued, so I talked to the seller. I was hoping he could explain that to me, but beyond that, the discs are in great shape, and they are on wonderful double clear vinyl. So this is such a great album that probably won't get a repress because of the samples on it. I don't think they can re-clear them, so this is great. I can check this off my list of most wanted records, and I can jam out to some Fly Low as Captain Murphy. A couple years ago, one of my favorite music blogs, Sly Vinyl, actually started pressing their own records, and the most recent one they did was my buddy Richard Houghton's band, A Cosmic Gift. I got both variants, the black and the colored of this one, and this is the album Hologram. Now, the interesting part about this is it's not just called Hologram, it actually has a hologram. People think that only one guy in the world can do this hologram thing, and he did it on the Star Wars Force Awakens, and he did it on Jack White's Lazaretto. My boy Richard, he can do it too. He's a genius. Let's check out this hologram and these variants. I have a lot of Richard stuff between A Cosmic Gift, Bloomy Petal, and Richard Houghton, and this is the first one, I think, where he has a really nice gatefold, and that's probably because Sly Vinyl was like, you should do this, and he was like, alright. So, I love the colors of this. The cover is really beautiful. All of his art, he always puts such detail in. The gatefold is super nice, too. This is number 15. I got another low number, which is great. I think they're 300 something maybe on the haze. Oh, this is trippy. So this is the color. It's this red and black kind of haze. And at first I was like, oh no, it's all scratched up. But I realized the middle is not a scratch. This is actually where the hologram comes when you play it. Shall we take it to the turntable? That was cool. Richard, you are brilliant. I can't wait to see what else you do with your inventive brain and your amazing skill with the lathe and with all the record stuff you do. This is a surprise one I picked up just a few nights ago. I've been eyeing this on the back rare wall of Amoeba's records for months now, and I just haven't bit the bullet. But the other night, it was still there, and I was like, you know what, it's calling to me. If no one's purchased it yet, this is cheaper than it tends to go for online, if you can even find it. I had to go for it. I took the plunge. It was a little pricey, but I finally own Clams Casino Instrumentals. Clams Casino is one of the most underground, underrated hip-hop producers around. He's becoming a little more mainstream with his most recent album, 32 Levels, which was good, but his earlier stuff, the instrumental tapes he did, are flawless. They're fire, and I've always wanted to have it on vinyl. There's two variations. There's a black and there's a blue. The blue only had, I think, 200 or 300 copies pressed. This is the blue one. It's on this really pretty, translucent blue. Under light, it just blows you away with how gorgeous it is. And the discs are near mint. I couldn't resist buying it. I'm happy to finally own it. And the samples that are on it, much like Captain Murphy's album, I don't think it'll get a repress because there's a lot to clear that I don't think he can do. So Clams Casino, if you like hip-hop, trip-hop, kind of like down-tempo-y beats, definitely check his stuff out. If you can find it on vinyl, jump at it, especially the instrumental tape. And last but not least, I got Mark Lanegan's One Way Street box set, which has his sub-pop era albums in it. Mark Lanegan is the singer of the band Screaming Trees. He did a lot of work with Queens of the Stone Age. He's part of the grunge movement. He was in Mad Season with Lane Staley and Mike McCready and the other guys from Screaming Trees whose names I can't think of. But this box set is mighty. It is so well constructed. I love how classy it looks. It looks like this faux leather with the gold leaf. And in this box set, there's a little string to be able to pull the albums out. But basically, it starts with this awesome picture of Mark Lanegan smoking a cigarette. How cool is this guy, right? And then it has all the albums underneath. I'm not going to show all of them, but basically, they're all sealed issues. I've read that they actually sound really, really good. They're not crappy represses. So I'm really excited to dig into this catalog. I've heard some of his more recent stuff, but I haven't heard the older Sub Pop albums. So I knew I had to buy it. I'm a big fan of his stuff. And now I have a lot of Lanegan to listen to. That's it for the B-side for March. I know it was a long video, but there was a lot of really good stuff in here. Some great content. So hopefully you enjoyed seeing the records I picked up. Now it's time for you to tell me what records you listened to and picked up this month. Let me know in the comments. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe. And we'll see you Wednesday. Welcome to the Essential Guide for Record Store Day 2017. I'd like to say I know what I'm talking about because this is my 7th time between Record Store Day and Record Store Day Black Friday.